Slides.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you just do the screen slideshow and then start speaking.
सबका visible है ना slides?
Yeah, slides are visible. You can
Chal, start.
So today we are going to discuss about ASD, which includes the ostium secundum type and atrioventricular septal defect, that is ostium primum type, and a common atrium and Newton-Becker syndrome. So ASD, Galen was the first one who found that there's a foramen in the atrial septum, which is called foramen organ, and it usually closes in postnatal. And Bodala described PFI at birth without understanding its function in fetus. But Leonardo was the first one who wrote that there's a perforating channel between the left auricle and right auricle. And this is the first record of the true ASD. And then in 1640, Pierre Gassendi has described this observation of PFO in adult cadaver. In 1875, there was a pathological anatomy paper published regarding ASD, where it was distinguished into two types, septum primum and septum secundum defects. And in 1921, Ashman described the radiological features of ASD. And in 1941, Benford and Ferguson described the clinical features of ASD. So, if you view the normal atrial septum on the right side, it is usually a blade shape with the superior anterior margin attached to the curvature of the ascending aorta, and inferior margin, the mitral annulus, and posterior margin is convex. On the left side of the septum, there is a network of tuberculations. The tuberculation mainly by the disruption of the septum primum, and fossa ovalis usually occupies around 20% of the septal area, irrespective of the age, and the limbus is guarded by a wall. So the incidence of patents of foramen oval declines about 1/3 during the first 3 decades, and one quarter during the first 4 to 8 decades. The small so embryology of ASD in a small overview. So initially there is an endocardial cushion in the center from which the ventricular septum and atrial septum develops. So there is the black is the septum primum, which develops from the superior region and it grows towards the endocardial cushion. So this is the septum primum growing from the endocardial cushion, and other is growing from the superior margin. So the gap between the septum primum and the endocardial cushion is called ostium primum, and from parallel to the septum primum, there will be another septum growing downwards, which is called septum secundum, and the gap between the septum secundum is called ostium secundum. So this ostium secundum overgrows the septum primum and closes the this usually ultimately the septum primum usually resolves, and the septum secundum forms the true atrial septum what we see. So the septum secundum has a hole in between which is called foramen ovale, and it is guarded by a flap. So during patent life, the right atrial pressure is more than left atrial pressure. So the blood flows from right atrium into left atrium. After birth, when the left atrial pressure overtakes the right atrium, this flap closes on its own, leading to closure of the foramen ovale. So in normal adults, this flaps acts as a wall, and this leads to closure. So coming to different types of ASDs, the one which is present at the region of the foramen ovale or above is called the ostium secundum type of ASD, and the one which is present at the level of the atrioventricular walls, that is where the endocardial cushion meets the ASD, atrial septum. It is called ostium primum type, and where the SVC attaches to sinus venosus, if the defect present there is a sinus venosus type of ASD, it can be at the level of superior vena cava or at the level of the inferior vena cava. And other type is coronary sinus type, where the coronary sinus enters the right atrium. There will be a defect in the ostium of the coronary sinus, leading to shunting from left to right, or there can be unusually there can be a roof of the coronary sinus can be absent, and this leads to connection between the right atrium and left atrium. The most common type is ostium secondum type of ST. It is ASD, and it is followed by ostium primum type. The sinus venous ASD are not uncommon, but not rare, and usually constitute for 2% to 3% of limited complications. So during normal emergencies, the IVC and the right SVC are incorporated right in the superior cava. So the contraception of the communication near the orifice of the near either superior or inferior vena cava leads to ASD, and this is usually associated with partial anomalous pulmonary venous connection. That is, right pulmonary vein usually connects into right atrium when this type of ASD is present. And the right wall of the sinus venosus is a broad membrane that almost partitions the developing right atrium. And from the on the right side of this atria, the vena cava will be located on the left side of the membrane. On the other side, there will be the tricuspid annulus. This is orifice.
So how
The
frequent is the association of PAPVC with ASD?
So in case of sinus venosus, it is 90%, and in case of ostium secondum type, सर इससे एक्चुअली आगे मैं बताऊंगा एग्जैक्ट
ठीक है
SVC sinus
Ostium secundum, even in ostium secundum, 10% of all the ASDs can have a pulmonary veins which can be abnormal. That is why when you take on the table, you must always be certain. You remember that adult lady who would take for a very good ASD margins are there. जिसको वो था, Mohit was there, I think. जिसको hypersensitivity reaction होता था device से, जिसका हमने check किया था. But we had the suspicion we couldn't see the vein on the echo. Well, so we injected in the pulmonary artery to see, and it turned out to be PAPVC. अगर उसका device कर देते तो PAPVC का पता भी नहीं चलता. Adults में पता भी नहीं चलता. So one has to proactively look for pulmonary veins, and if there is a suspicion, always inject, because 10% is significant number. Any of the 100 cases, 10 can have a PAPVC which can get missed.
And in SVC type of ASD, usually it is asked where does PAPVC join. So either it is right upper or it is middle pulmonary vein. Okay.
So this particular has become very important since last few years now, because ever since PAPVC, SVC sinus or sinus venosus ASD is subjected to percutaneous closure, so it has become very important. So because अगर superior has, then it becomes, because PAPVC may keep on draining. लेकिन अगर SVC RA junction पे drain कर रही है, so we can easily close it with a covered stent and make the PAPVC drain to the normal left atrium.
Yes.
So intervention point of view, it has become now important कि PAPVC कहाँ drain कर रही है sinus venosus ASD.
Yes.
So the SVC sinus defect are located immediately below the junction of the SVC and the right atrium, and it can vary from a small ASD to or non-ST ASD. And the orifice of the septum ASD can be forward with superior vena cava, so which is therefore biatrial. The inferior vena cava sinus defects are located below the foramen oval and match with the floor of the IVC. As the wall of the IVC dissolves, its rudiment becomes Peter-Eustachian wall and directs IVC blood into foramen oval. The persistence of large Eustachian wall channels IVC blood across the ostium secundum ASD and or across the inferior vena cava sinus venous defect. So this is the persistent Eustachian wall, and this is the ASD. So usually the blood which is coming from the IVC is usually directed across the ASD into left atrium by the Eustachian wall. This is the echocardiography is showing this is the right atrium and left atrium and the ASD in between and IVC. So on front of it we can see the flow, which is blood is coming from the IVC, which is crossing across the ASD into the left atrium. So it is preferentially directly into the ostium secondum type of ASD, for the blood which is coming from IVC. Whereas the blood coming from SVC is usually preferentially directed towards the ostium primum type of ASD. And if we see the echocardiogram, So during the late systole and early diastole, there will be peaking of the increased flow across the ASD. So coming to coronary sinus ASDs are uncommon but not rare. So it is usually normally occupies the right atrium ostium of the coronary sinus and characterized by the opening in the wall of the distal end of the sinus, or by unbroken caused by the absence of the partition between the coronary sinus and left atrium. So the left SVC inserts into the upper left corner of the left atrium. A relatively rare combination consists of absence of coronary sinus, a defect in atrial septum in the location of ostium of the coronary sinus, and a left SVC connected to left atrium. So this combination is necessarily cyanotic because the blood from left SVC enters directly into the left atrium. The ostium secondum type of ASDs are seldomly asymptomatic in infants and young children, but sometimes it may manifest as a CHF and in infants also. But these type of ASDs usually spontaneously close between 1 to 2 years of age. So the exact mechanism for this spontaneous closure is not known, but it has been seen that the multiple ASDs around less than 5 mm usually has a strong tendency to close during the first week of during the first year of life, within 1 year. So the pulmonary veins cannot normally can drain anomalously. That means pulmonary vein can attach to left atrium itself, but it can drain into the right atrium. But the pulmonary veins which can connect to anomalously can drain anonymously. Means if the vein is attached to the right atrium, it drains into right atrium only, or any other chamber. If it is connected as anterior vena cava, it drains into inferior vena cava only. It doesn't go into left atrium. But if a vein is connected to left atrium, it can drain into right atrium. So the normal connection can lead to anomalous drainage, but anomalous connection will always lead to anomalous drainage. So for example, the right pulmonary vein is connected to left atrium, but it is closely to the ostium secundum defect. So the blood coming from the right pulmonary vein is preferentially uh, is flown into the right atrium through the ASD. So it is connected anatomically to left atrium, but flow is into the right atrium. This is an injection given in the pulmonary vein, right pulmonary vein. So the blood is directed across the ASD into the right atrium, which is a potential drainage into the right atrium. So 10 to 15% of ostium events are associated with partial anomalous pulmonary connections, and 80 to 90% superior ventricular sinus events are associated with anomalous connection of right superior pulmonary vein to the RA or SVC. About 90% of partial anomalous pulmonary vein connection join the right upper or middle lobe pulmonary veins into the RA or SVC. The formal partial anomalous connection of right pulmonary veins usually associated with ostium secundum ASD. Exceptionally, it is associated with the intact atrial septum and may go unrecognized when associated with restrictive sinus defect. So the anomalous connection of pulmonary veins is far less prevalent. The incident rate is about 10%. There is a special syndrome called Schmidt syndrome, in which the connection of all right pulmonary veins is drained into inferior vena cava. So if it is usually the right side of the lung which drains into the inferior vena cava. So if the right lung and right pulmonary artery are usually hypoplastic, and this syndrome rarely involves the left lung. So the scimitar is a word which is radiological resembles the shape of the Turkish word on the radiology. So I'll show it next. So if the right lung is hypoplastic and the lower portion of the right lung is usually perforated by the systemic arteries, that is abdominal aorta. So this is the scimitar syndrome. So this is the Turkish sword. So the pulmonary vein which connects to the IVC in this manner. So this is the pulmonary vein which is connecting into the IVC. So this is the scimitar syndrome. And so apart from the anomalous connections. So it can ASD can also associate with anomalous wall tissues also matter. That is, mitral wall can an abdominal development can occur. So that can lead to any of the lipids or quadrat and it can be either attributed to traumatic movements that result from deformed LV cavity also. So the lesions are thought to be basis for age-related MR. So what happens is in ASDs, the LV is under volume, is underfilled. So it is volume depleted cavity. So it leads to reduce the LV cavity is reduced in size and is abnormal shape. So in a reduces LV cavity and abnormal shape LV cavity, there is a normal what are leaflets of normal area and normal length are housed in. So this leads to systolic displacement of the mitral leaflets, that is causing the mitral valve prolapse. In a patient with non-restrictive ASD, pulmonary vascular disease, the hypertensive proximal pulmonary arteries dilate aneurysmally and contain mural calcification and intraluminal thrombi that can be massive or occlusive. The CT, which is showing the dilated pulmonary artery with a massive thrombus in it on the left artery, and we can see this is this small thing is the lumen, this is the main big artery which is calcified, and it is a massive thrombus, and the lumen is very small in this. And you can see this is the left pulmonary artery, main pulmonary artery which is dilated, and the right pulmonary artery which is dilated. So these aneurysmal proximal pulmonary arteries may rupture, and the abdominalis can be either the abdominalis in the medial smooth muscle or elastin or collagen or ground substance that reside in the walls of these pulmonary arteries and are held for responsible dilatation out of proportion to the hemodynamic or morphogenic expectation. When the defect is restrictive, the size per se determines the magnitude of the shunt. When the defect is non-restrictive, the pressure difference within the right atrium and left atrium. So the pressure difference decides the shunting. The shunt volume is determined relative to the relative compliance of the ventricles. So the ventricle which is more compliant will accept the blood. So from the blood flows from the non-compliant ventricle side to compliant ventricle side. So in Austrian second ASD, the RV is thinner and more compliant. So than LV. So the blood flows from left atrium through the ASD to the tricuspid wall into relatively compliant right ventricle. Thus, they establish left to right shunt. So in fetal circulation, the is not under ASD because in normal fetal circulation, the flow is from right to left because there is a increased number of sessions more in case of fetus. So there will be the normal flow in fetus is usually from right to left. So through the PFO, but when the pulmonary vaccinations coming is started to decrease. Initially, there will be a little or no shunt across the ASD because the compliance of the RV and LV are mutually identical. So gradually, when RV becomes thinner and more compliant in the left ventricle in response to the fall in neonatal pulmonary resistance, the LV blood flows across the ASD into more compliant right ventricle. So the pulmonary blood flow that is received by the right pulmonary veins is channeled into the right atrium because the proximity of right pulmonary veins to the rim of the ASD. That is Austrian second type ASD.
So have you understood this point? That in an ASD patient who has got, if we are getting a wide split S2 and if we are getting a flow murmur across tricuspid valve, then it is a hallmark of left to right shunting. Okay. Point just spoke just now. Because RV is more compliant, so definitely there is a left to right shunting if you are getting a MDM at tricuspid area.
MDM depends upon how much flow across the
yeah.
The RV compliance kitna hai, more the compliant ventricle and more the flow.
So RV compliance is always better, na? RV is thin walled. It is got always a better compliance. So ASD shunt depends on actually only on two factors, na? Either the absolute size of the ASD or the compliance of the right ventricle. If the compliance ASD size is very small, the shunt is going to be less. If the ASD is very big, shunt is going to be more. If shunt is going to be more, when RV compliance is, that means RV can accommodate more. If the RV compliance is poor, RV EDs are high, RV is thick, in that particular case, it's a low pressure. No, LA pressure is, what is the normal LA pressure? What is the normal LA pressure? What is normal RA pressure?
Day is around 6 to 8, sir. RV 0 to 5.
0 to 5.
So there is not much of a difference in pressures, no. So the pressure gradient is not much except for the compliance of both the ventricles. When the compliance is lost, like severe pulmonary artery hypertension, then the EDs tends to become high and the reversal of the shunt happens. Or when the patient is very small, just newborn patient is there, when the compliance is poor, then also left to right shunt will decrease. What is the direction of the shunt? In what phase of left to right shunt you will have a right to left component? For any left to right shunt, there will be a transient right to left component. In which phase of the cardiac cycle you will find it?
Atrial contraction.
Atrial contraction of small flow can occur.
So which phase I am saying? No, you have to tell the phase of the cardiac cycle. No?
Late diastole.
So left to right shunt will gradually increase with it will peak as the systole increases, and will continue to be in diastole, because systole, when venous contraction is also there. But as the diastole starts, early diastole phase, the diastolic pressures are going to be more, almost equal or more on the right side. So it happens actually in late systole or early diastole, end of late systole or early, I think, no, what happens first in systole, pressures are going to be high, then the is going to be left to right. In late early diastole, the pressures are also going to be high, but subsequently in late diastole, there will be a transient reversal of shunt. So in late diastole, when the shunt reversal will start. Why this is happening? Because when I'm telling you, I was just thinking of the cardiac cycle. No? So why this is happening? Why this particular shunt reversal, transient shunt reversal is seen in late diastole?
Atrial contraction leads to mixing of the blood. That can happen.
In late diastole, there will be because of forceful atrial contraction that will lead to.
There is a forceful atrial contraction which is taking place.
Forceful atrial contraction right to left.
So always atrial A wave is always bigger on the right side. The V waves are always prominent on the left side. On right side, there is a forceful atrial contraction. It is going to increase the pressures on the right atrium. So there will be a transient right to left shunt towards the end of end diastole.
So the pulmonary blood flow which is received by the left pulmonary veins is channeled directly into the left atrium and then is shunted across the ASD. So according to the RV volume is overloaded and the RV volume is underloaded. So the right ventricle function usually maintained through the fourth decade. The ischemic heart disease and the systemic hypertension which reduce the LV compliance, so increases the left to right shunt, and left ventricular end diastolic volume or stroke volume, ejection fraction, or cardiac output, are decreased in implants and adults ASD, and EF tends to fail exercise. So the diminished LV functional reserve is related to the mechanical effects of the RV volume overload, which displays the ventral septum in the left ventricular cavity, reducing its size and changing its shape from ovoid to concentric. So in addition to this, there can be decrease in the coronary reserve because the RV the volume of dilated pulmonary trunk can compress the main left coronary artery. So the flow across the left main will be decreased. So this leads to decrease the coronary reserve. The paucity of pulmonary vascular disease in patients with non-restricted ASD has been ascribed to onset of left to right shunt across the pulmonary artery pressure, and pulmonary vascular fever has normalized. A low resistant, low pressure pulmonary vascular bed accommodates an appreciable increment in blood flow without raising pressure. An exception is propensity of pulmonary hypertension patients with ASD who are born at high altitude. So, pulmonary vascular disease with patients with left to right shunt axillary level occurs in less than 10% of patients with ASD and is believed to represent the coincidence of young females with primary pulmonary hypertension and ostium secundum ASD. In older adults, experience a moderate rise in pulmonary artery pressure with the persistence of left to right shunt. So, thus the pulmonary hypertension with the non-restrictive ASD at sea level is bimodal in representation and in young females with the coexisting pulmonary hypertension, and in older adults with who have moderate pulmonary hypertension with the left to right shunt. When partial anomalous venous connection occurs with an intact atrial septum, the flow is increased to the segment of lung with the anomalous pulmonary veins because the right atrium pressure will be lower than the left atrial pressure in a patient with intact atrial septum. So the pressure gradient across the anomalous draining lung is therefore greater across the normal draining lung. So the anomalous systemic drainage from normally aligned IVC results in cyanosis.
Understand, if there is a PAPVC of suppose left side, what will be the physiological consequence? Left side pulmonary veins are having a PAPVC. So what will be the physiological consequence?
Pulmonary veins are draining into right atrium.
Right atrium, always there is a left to right shunt. Compliance of the RV is much better. So any shunt which is coming into RA and RV has got a gradient because of the distal compliance. So all the pulmonary veins, if we are draining to a right-sided circuit, the compliance is very good. So that means they are going to have very, if I have to take some resistance from the right and the left side, my QP will always be higher on the side of PAPVC because it is draining into a low resistance circuit. It is destined to a very compliant circuit. I think actually not word is not resistance, the word is compliant. It is draining to a very compliant circuit. So shunt on, there will be some amount of slight amount of differential flow which you will be appreciating probably. This particular can have a PAPVC because जहाँ भी PAPVC होगा वहाँ का shunt बढ़ जाएगा. Whether there is ASD or there is no ASD, कुछ भी RA में drain करेगा उस particular segment का shunt would be more as compared to LA. Understand, no?
आपका आवाज कट रहा है सिचुएशन.
I mean to say anything which is draining into LA, vis-a-vis anything which draining into RA. RA is connected to a very compliant RV. तो कोई भी ASD का शंट हो या PAPVC का शंट हो जो compliant एट्रिया में ड्रेन करेगा, एट्रिया which is connected to a compliant RV, उसमें शंट हमेशा ज्यादा होगा, उसका QP हमेशा ज्यादा होगा. क्या मैनिफेस्टेशन है? अगर PAPVC होगा तो उस सेगमेंट में आपको इंक्रीज फ्लो मिलेगा. अगर वो PAPVC टू राइट एट्रियम आ रहा है तो उसका डेफिनेटली उस सेगमेंट में एक्सट्रीमली इंक्रीज फ्लो मिलेगा क्योंकि इज ड्रेनिंग टू अ कंप्लायंट सेगमेंट. ASD है या नहीं है? आप बोलो कि ASD तो नहीं है, फिर क्यों फ्लो ज्यादा मिलेगा उस एरिया में? बिकॉज़ इट इज ASD pulmonary vein, if it is connected to RA, it is coming to a very compliant ventricle. Pulmonary artery में जो blood जा रहा है, it is say there is a PAPVC of left upper pulmonary segment. Left पूरे lung में blood जा रहा है, पर left upper segment is connected to a very compliant ventricle. तो वहाँ QP बहुत ज्यादा होगा क्योंकि वहाँ gradient बहुत कम हो जाएगा. वहाँ easily blood flow कर रहा है. So blood जो होगा वो selectively upper segments में जाएगा. And an X-ray you will find an increased flow in that particular segment with a PAPVC, whether there is ASD or whether there is no ASD. Okay. अभी भी confusion है कि अभी कुछ दोबारा clear करें?
No, sir.
Complaint when RV and RA are more complaint that has low pressure. So anyway, the ASD present or not, the drainage into the RA and RV will be more when compared to the LA and LV. Sir, am I audible?
Thinking.
हम
थोड़ा नहीं clearly नहीं audible. थोड़ा सा
yes
fast कर दो. Hello. अब आमशी करी continue.
Okay. So this is the same thing which I told you. The IVC blood is preferentially directed into the LA due to the presence of eustachian wall. So in case of in patient with ostium secondary ASD, because it directs the blood in fetal population also directs the blood across the PF foramen over into the left atrium.
So manifestation today, what is bradycardia or orthodoxy syndrome? Because like you have talked of IVC blood draining to this. So what is bradycardia orthodoxy syndrome?
Catapnia is a patient who is in lying down position. Patient has a difficulty. Sorry, a patient has a difficulty in breathlessness and difficulty in oxygen saturation in sitting position, and it will improve on lying down position.
Why does it
If the
happen?
patient is lying down, the things improve. But as soon as the patient sits, the dyspnea means bradycardia, and desaturation
So
means
dioxide is
orthodoxy.
decreased saturation.
That is because the blood is getting directed from the IVC to the.
Okay, what is decompression sickness? Caisson's disease.
It can be there in PFO, it can be there in ASD also. Okay, you can tell. No?
आपका आवाज कट हो रहा है सर.
Mohit can speak, no?
Hello.
Mohit, you can speak, yeah.
So decompression sickness. Hello.
You are audible.
Sir, yes sir.
So decompression sickness or Caisson's disease is present in both PFO as well as ASD. So whenever the divers who are doing deep sea diving, whenever they are after diving, when they do ascent, so there is a loss of pressure and there can be venous bubbles of nitrogen in your blood, which can cause air embolism and death.
yes
So this is because of the paradoxic.